Super Mario Odyssey being shown at Nintendo's E3 2017 Direct was something we can all never forget. Wanna know why? Because that was also the same year that Metroid Prime 4 was introduced. At least I think that it was. To all intents and purposes, I think Metroid Prime 4 was introduced as a logo and kind of just faded out of existence after that. Where is that game, by the way? Look, I know we got Metroid Dread, but that's besides the point. Anyways, Super Mario Odyssey was the first game that I myself had picked up when I first got my first Nintendo Switch. Since, I had Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, there was really no point, and a bit redundant, to end up getting Breath of the Wild on the Switch. Let's be real here. So, Mario Odyssey was the way to go. And so today's PikaTalks, we're actually going to be taking a look at Super Mario's Odyssey and Mario's Kingdom to Kingdom adventure in Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. Let's get started. Our story starts out with both Mario and Bowser having a little bit of a battle, but this time around, Bowser's looking fancy and Peach is looking worried. Bowser's goal this time around is to not only kidnap Princess Peach, but to also marry her. Yeah, this guy's finally trying to tie the knot with Princess Peach, except it's forced, of course. Talk about a level up from kidnapping and just straight up trying to be the king of the Toads, even though he's already the king of the Koopas, but what are you gonna do? Bowser has also hired new help. With the work of Madame Brood and her Broodals, they're going to put a stop to both Mario and his new companion Cappy to rescuing Princess Peach and his sister Tiara. The story of Mario Odyssey has both Cappy and Mario going from different kingdom to solve and or stop the Broodals from stealing weddings like items for Bowser. Sand Kingdom has the ring, Winning Kingdom has the many flowers, and Lake Kingdom has the dress, and so on and so on. You get the picture. Mostly every area we visit has something Bowser needs for his wedding. Once you take out Madame Brood at Fossil Kingdom, you head for your first actual kingdom, which is essentially Sand Kingdom. And it's one of the first big kingdoms, I should more so say. Fossil Kingdom is not really all that big. It is one of the main kingdoms, but it's not as expansively large like Sand Kingdom is. In the Sand Kingdom, you'll end up fighting one of the many Broodals. You do fight a Broodal in the starting area of Cap Kingdom, but to make things a bit easier, let's just say that at this point you will normally fight a Broodal and a main boss. The reason why I say normally is mainly because there are also mini kingdoms that mostly progresses the story or are little detours. Cloud Kingdom, Lost Kingdom, and Ruined Kingdom are some of the mini kingdoms that you will be visiting. Once you've finished up Ruined Kingdom and head to Bowser's own kingdom, just named Bowser's Kingdom, don't know how Bowser was able to actually afford all this, but hey, if Dr. Wily can do it, why can't Bowser? Once you reach the top of Bowser's Kingdom, you meet up with Bowser, but not before the Broodals in their last ditch of effort to try to stop Mario once and for all. I should mention that you notice there's one person who's missing, and no, it's not the Koopalings, who cares about them? Where the hell is Bowser Jr.'s kid? Or I should say, where's Bowser's kid? Like, you have a glorified wedding here, and the fact that you completely omitted your own kid baffles the crap out of me. It really makes the situation that happens in Bowser's Fury to be a little bit lot more poignant if you know what I'm saying. Anyways, the Broodals besides Madame Brood consist of 4 different types of rabbits. You got Topper, the client relation, Harriet the Pyrotechna, the fan favorite of many, Spewpert the entertainer, and Rango the bouncer. Oh, and also Madame Brood's chain Chompikins. I'm wondering where Bowser even found these guys, but I guess since Bowser's wedding is on the moon, the final area in the game, one can assume he might have visited their home before going with his wedding plan. After you defeated the 4 Broods, you head to the final area, the moon, and confront Bowser one final time, saying I object and stopping this forced marriage while residents from each kingdom were forced to be here. After fighting Bowser one final time, the center of the moon starts to break apart. I won't lie, I'm not sure where the final escape takes place. All I do know is that we take Bowser and Peach and smash our way to escape with our lovable cast of characters. And that's pretty much the selling plot point of Mario's biggest adventure yet. I would say your first time these games will feel very big, but once you play it over and over again, it starts to be a little bit interesting of how quick you can actually finish it. Each kingdom can be pretty much completed in under 30 or so minutes, but of course for your first time, it might take a little bit of it. Looking at the left upper corner, whenever you get to a new kingdom, you will always see the amount of moons, which are the game's power stars, you need to progress. And the interesting thing is that you can ignore both the brutal bosses and also the main bosses for the kingdom as a whole. Each kingdom is pretty unique in their own way. Some I will say is better than others. Of course, New Donk City is otherwise known as the fan favorite and also the Mario and Donkey Kong arcade. New Donk's Festival Moon is memorable to all since it's not only a cap off to the kingdom, but it's also the introduction to Jump Up Superstar. Not counting the TV shows, might be Mario's first lyrical theme. The lyric focuses on many acts and heroic nature of Mario, and I really like that. The final part of the game when you're escaping the moon also plays a theme that a lot of people say sounds very anime-like. I was really blown away when hearing this theme for the first time because 1, I was not expecting it, and 2, it's a very odd theme to play for an escape sequence. There are a total of 17 kingdoms that you will be visiting in Mario Odyssey. The first one, of course, is Cap Kingdom, is where you'll be introduced to Mario's movement and how he and Cappy can work together to activate levers and utilize possession abilities. Cascade Kingdom is the real full level since Cap Kingdom does not allow you to collect power moons yet until you revisit it. Cascade is mostly the dino style level for Mario and allows Mario to possess a dinosaur. Pretty neat. Sand Kingdom is the first level to be introduced for both the brutal fight and also the main boss fight. You will take on Harriet to fight the main boss, Knuckles, the keeper of the binding band. Lake Kingdom, which is really short since unlike Sand Kingdom, which was larger, the lake more so has 2 locations, the water and the surface. Here you will learn how Mario's swimming controls are, but since he controls like booty in the water, just possess a Cheep Cheep and boom, you end up having yourself good swim controls. Next stop is Wind Kingdom, and say hello to Not Planet Wisp from Sonic Colors. But in all seriousness, this level is more vertical platforming as most of your progression is jumping up to reach the top. Here you will fight Spewpert, and I guess a Bowser-made machine that's sucking up all the flowers and for his wedding. After you complete this kingdom, you will get one of the many small kingdoms, Cloud Kingdom. Here you will have a boss fight with Bowser, and after he proceeds to knock you down, you enter Lost Kingdom. And here I will say, haha, that one GameCube game why'd I have this? Anyways, moving on. Basically, Lost Kingdom is a game that not a lot of people probably end up hearing of. Let's be real. You guys ever remember that? No? Alright, let's move away from that. You end up meeting an old friend, Klepto from Super Mario 64, who you can basically skip if you decide to do a Cappy jump over to the left side of the level. There's a small kingdom which is more so serves as a mean to gather more power moons to head to the next kingdom. Metro Kingdom. I already said things about this kingdom, so let's move on to the next one. Snow Kingdom. When you first arrive here, there's a snowstorm, but there's a race that needs to be won to clear it up. I guess I should mention, before I end up skipping Metro Kingdom entirely, even though I went into detail, I never really mentioned that the fact that Pauline, of all the characters that hasn't been in a Mario game, in a mainline I should say, for years, managed to come back in a mainline game. This is actually her first mainline Mario game in ever, because usually she's just a damsel in distress character that Mario needs to rescue in the Mario and Donkey Kong series, but it's actually the first time where she is her own character. She's also the mayor of New Donk City. She managed to successfully gotten a lot better for herself after ditching Mario. There's a nice detail though that when you actually revisit New Donk City to do the extra missions, there is a little bit of a cute thing that the game references to the Mario and Donkey Kong arcade games, where you can be able to collect Pauline's items that she has as collectibles in the arcade game when you end up getting points. It's really nice, and she ends up mentioning that it's nice to see Mario again, basically insinuating that, yes, she does remember him, and I guess it is sort of canon that Mario and Donkey Kong connects to the mainline series somehow. I don't know. That makes no sense to me, but hey, you do you, I guess. Onwards to Seaside, where the soda pop here is crystal clear and Bowser needed to refresh his guest. Next up is the unforgettable Luncheon Kingdom. Lots of lava and candy looking shaped foods. After the luncheon, you head right into Skyrim, or Dark Souls, whatever you want to say, and fight the Lord of Lightning. And after the epic battle with the dragon, this is where you head to Bowser's Kingdom to have the battle with the Brutals. After the fight with the Brutals, the Brood Machine, you head to the final area that does have 3 separate areas: the normal moon, the dark side of the moon, and the darker side of the moon. Yeah, they weren't really that clever when they decided to name the 2 extra areas in the moon, let's be real here. These 2 other locations are just bonuses when you've beaten the game. And after you finish the game, you gain access to, not so surprising if you found the painting in the Luncheon Kingdom, the Mushroom Kingdom. And this kingdom is more so for people who really grew up with 64 to feel that full-on nostalgia. But this kingdom is really nice of callback to 64 fans. It has some callbacks to Peach's Castle with the Peach's Castle theme, the jingle when you enter the boss's painting, and the fact that Yoshi is at the top of the Mushroom Kingdom castle, where he ends up being in the original 64 game where he gives you 100 lives and a really pointless jump. I don't really understand why he's even there. Also, I should mention something else. When you end up collecting a star, it ends up making the traditional reference of the same exact theme, just like in 64. Fun fact, the Power Moons, when you end up collecting them in Mario Odyssey, is actually a little bit of a remix of the Power Star Get theme from Super Mario 64. So that's actually pretty nice. Not when you get the 3 multi-moons though. Those are actually just a badass theme in itself. Mario Odyssey, of course, ends up playing very different compared to both Sunshine and Galaxy. With Sunshine, Mario had the Flood, and while in Galaxy, Mario also had the capability of doing a little bit of a double jump with the Luma. Of course, I've mentioned how Cappy and Mario team up, but the fact that you can do a lot of tricks such as a Cappy jump and a bit of a spin roll, and the ability to keep the momentum going is really amazing. The shred speed of how fast you can go in terms of movement is always wonderful to see both casually and speedrunners perform. I will say, Mario's control and Odyssey are really well done. It's also interesting since Bowser's Fury kinda gives off that same feeling when you play it, but it still has that 3D world controls. Speaking of movement for speedrunners, this game is actually by far one of the first games that I myself can speedrun casually. I say casually because I can't really hardcore speedrun this game. Maybe one day, who knows. I think there's only like 2 games I can think of. This one and Link's Awakening. 2 games that I can end up safely saying, yep, I can definitely speedrun through this. It's quite interesting how I can be able to do that. One day I'd like to see if I can be able to beat the game a little bit faster, probably like under 2 hours or 1 hour and 30 minutes. Highly doubt it that will ever happen because the tricks in Mario Odyssey are a little bit complex, I have to say. But, one day I'd like to see if I can be able to do it, With being able to just collect a certain amount of moons and skipping bosses left and right, you can see how short Odyssey is compared to Galaxy and Sunshine, since in Sunshine, you have to complete every Shadow Mario stage, and for Galaxy, you have to collect a certain amount of both Power Stars and Grand Stars to get to the end. But overall, Mario Odyssey will always be my favorite Mario game, which is a first considering I never really had a favorite 3D Mario game per se. Because it usually goes down to whether or not if I enjoy 64 that much, Sunshine, or Galaxy. My experiences is with this. 64, I didn't really grow up with, unless you end up counting me playing the DS version, but I never really actually owned 64 on my N64, so there's that. Sunshine, I ended up having it during the summer, and I didn't really play much of it. My brother more so played much of that. And for Galaxy, I played that when I was sick, when I first got on the Wii, so I didn't really get captivated by the amazingness. Hell, half of the time I didn't even really know what was going on. And I'm not really a big fan of the gravity gimmick, or the way how the game kind of plays with your... Well, not that it doesn't really play with your mind, it's just... It's not really a mechanic that I can get into. It was a bit difficult for me to figure out how to play through Galaxy. I did, recently, not really recently, like a couple of years back, where I did stream it for my first time of actually fully beating it. And it was interesting, to say the least. It wasn't too difficult, but I will end up saying that Galaxy and Sunshine and 64, not really my all-time favorite. They're still good, but they're not my all-time favorites. But Mario Odyssey will be my favorite and will be my Mario game per se, which is really nice. Now, would I be on board for an Odyssey 2? Well, duh. Not sure what they will do for Odyssey 2, but who knows? Maybe they'll make Bowser find like a brother Cappy who's evil, or maybe the Brutals will get revenge of some sort. You know, it's weird too, because that's exactly what I thought was gonna happen when Bowser had his own hat that can move around and stuff. But no, that hat doesn't have any sort of being. It's just a regular hat that Bowser can just throw magically, which I don't get how that works, but whatever. And I also don't even know what Nintendo will even do. They tend to do like weird things half of the time. But I would be excited if Mario Odyssey 2 does end up getting announced. Anyways, that's enough from me. I'm really This is a different format that I'm doing now, as you notice that it was a little bit more concise and a little bit more explaining. Explaining, not a word. Usually these final thoughts are kind of just off the rails, but this was a little bit different compared to how I did stuff before. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's, I can't really tell you what I did, but let's just say this feels a little bit better for me now, and I like it. And I hope you like it too. Anyways, I've been Pika. I hope you guys end up enjoying my talk on Super Mario Odyssey, and I'll see you guys in the next video for whatever game I have to end up talking about next. Who knows? It might be a certain Blade game that we need to actually get through before, you know, the next Blade game gets released. Anyways, I've been Pika. I will see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Y'all already know the deal. And stay safe out there. The world is nuts, bro. Anyways, see yas.